You won't believe this moment. After many days of being missing, the dog suddenly appeared at the door. But instead of complete joy, the image of his swollen, painful face shocked the whole family. What happened during those days of being lost? The story behind it will surely make you shiver and choke with emotion. Let's explore with us in today's video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other emotional stories. In the hustle and bustle of life, we sometimes come across seemingly small images that strongly touch our hearts. On a poor street corner, every day people see a skinny old woman with a cart full of scrap. On that difficult road to make a living, she is not alone. Always by her side is a small dog, with a simple appearance but eyes that exude loyalty and boundless love. Day after day, the dog quietly follows the old woman's footsteps. When she stops to pick up each item, the dog patiently stands by, not leaving her for a second. There are times when the old woman is tired and sits on the side of the road to rest. The dog obediently lies at her feet, as if wanting to protect and warm her. Every time the old woman pushes her cart into the alley, the dog runs around as if it is watching over and protecting the little property that she has worked so hard to collect. What especially moves many people is the dog's habit of waiting. When the old lady had to go deeper into the alley to find more scrap, the dog did not follow but sat by the cart, his eyes looking at her expectantly. Only when he saw her familiar figure again, did he wag his tail happily and bark a few times as if to welcome her. That image was simple, but full of affection, making anyone passing by turn around and feel sad. Although the old lady's life was hard and deprived, her heart was always filled with love for her four-legged friend. On cold days, when she was still shivering in her thin shirt, she still tried to boil a pot of hot water, not for herself, but to wash the dog's face and limbs. She said, "It's just like humans. When it's too cold, it needs to be a little warmer." The dog seemed to understand her feelings, lying obediently, its sparkling eyes shining with simple happiness. Every time someone mentioned the dog, the old lady smiled gently, her voice full of pride. To her, the dog was not only a companion, but also a child, the only relative who was always by her side, sharing every frugal meal, every long cold night. However, one day, that joy was covered by worry. The dog unfortunately injured its leg after running to guard the scrap car. Looking at its limping gait, the old lady couldn't hold back her tears. That night, she could not sleep. Her heart was burning with anxiety. She was afraid that the wound would cause him pain, worried that she would not have enough money to take him to treatment. In the poorhouse, she sat next to him, caressing him, silently praying that his little legs would heal soon. The next day, despite its painful legs, the dog still limped along beside the old lady, not leaving her alone. It persistently accompanied her on her journey to make a living. That simple image made anyone who witnessed it choke up, because the dog's love and loyalty for her were so sacred and touching. The old lady could not hold back her tears. For a long time, it had always been her spiritual support, her loyal friend accompanying her on every journey of collecting scrap. But now, those little legs were in pain, walking slowly, sometimes stopping to gasp for breath. Seeing that scene, her heart ached. She felt sorry for the animal as if she were her own loved one. She tossed and turned all night, thinking only about how to cure it. She knew that the medicine was not cheap, while her daily life was already difficult. However, love urged her to do something that few people expected. She collected all the scrap she had painstakingly collected and sold it that same day. Although the amount of money was not much, she decided to spend it all to take the dog for treatment. After a careful examination, the veterinarian instructed the old woman on how to care for the dog's wound. Listening to each instruction, she nodded continuously, as if afraid of missing any details. Returning home, she followed it wholeheartedly, washing the wound and applying medicine every day. Those days, the dog lay quietly in the corner of the small house, its round black eyes occasionally looking up at her as if to say thank you. Even though its leg was in pain, it still tried to wag its tail whenever she came near. She was no longer alone in the quiet house, because each breath of the dog seemed to give her strength to persevere through a difficult life. Then time passed, and the wound began to heal. The day the dog took its first few steps, she cried tears of joy. Not long after, it was able to run and jump normally, as if it had never experienced pain. Seeing that scene, the old woman smiled gently, her heart filled with simple happiness. Since then, although life is still difficult, the old lady and the dog are filled with joy and simple happiness. Every morning, the dog happily runs out to the alley, wagging its tail, waiting for her to start a new day of making a living. On the old scrap car, it still sits obediently, watching, its eyes following her every step. When she is tired, the dog sticks close to her, as if wanting to give her more strength to continue. In the small house, there are no more long nights of anxiety. Instead, there is the gentle breathing when the dog sleeps soundly at her feet. The old lady smiles, feeling warm because she is no longer alone. The sincere friendship between people and animals has become a priceless source of encouragement, helping her forget her old age and the hardships of making a living. That simple story is like a beautiful message about love and attachment. Whether poor or rich, happiness sometimes comes from very small things, having a loyal friend by her side, accompanying her through difficult days. For the old lady and the dog, it is a sacred, simple but extremely complete happiness.